Okay, guys, what's up? It's your girl, Dedicated Diva, and I am back with another podcast now. I was sitting here thinking so hard on what I should talk about with my first work at home job experience. And the only thing that kept popping up in my mind was to talk about some of these work at home companies that's not fully operational. And if you ever get into working from home and you start working from home, or you start applying to work at home jobs, not here on my channel, all of the jobs here on my channel is 100% legit. I don't do any LLCs or anything like that because I don't want you guys to be working so hard and not get your money. But over the years that I have been working from home, and it's over 18 years, I have ran into a couple of companies that was not fully operational. And I've ran into a bunch of managers or company owners that don't know what they're doing, and that you have to guide them through the whole process. Now, I decided to talk about this because I can remember an experience when I first started working from home where I worked for a internet phone service. And when everything started out working for them, everything was fine. And I really didn't know, or I thought everything was fine, and I didn't know the ins and out of how a company should be ran. Now, don't get me wrong that some work at home companies, they find other means and ways of, to let their independent contractors or their employees chat back and forth. Now, when I was working for this one company in particular, they chose Skype. Now, I know to this day, Skype is still being used by many work at home companies to make sure, they get to talk back and forth with their employees. Matter of fact, I just work for a company like that. But when you run into red flag after red flag, and just say you're working for this work at home company and you can never get anyone to respond in management, or you can never get your team lead to respond, or you have customers calling in about the same problem, that's when red flags should start to pop up. And that's when you should really start to look for another work at home job. So if you're ever in the, just looking for a work at home job, and you apply somewhere and you actually get on and start working, and it seems like that connection is not happening, and it seems like a lot of the time that you have to wing what you're doing, and it seems like most of the time you're on your own, find some way to get away from that job quick. Now, another instant, well, something happened to me, and I would say it was maybe over a couple of months ago to a year ago. I started working for a company. It's not an LLC or anything like that. And even though this owner had agents, I would say agents, I'm just going to say agents or callers working for them at that time, I found out once I got my foot in the door that that company was not put together well at all. Now, when I say it was not put together well at all, I think the job description said something to the effect of, they need callers, outbound callers, to basically make follow-up calls. And you have to be, you know, basically you have to have a smile in your voice, and you have to be well-rounded and know computer programs. That was it. It didn't say anything else. When I looked in the contract, it didn't say anything else. But when I finally got in with this work at home company, I found out that I had to deal with Excel spreadsheet a lot. You had to go through with getting a Google Voice, which wasn't a problem to me. But the problem came where the owner wanted you on your own to do so much coding. She wanted you to make the phone calls on your own through your own device. And when I say wanted you to do your own code. And this basically, whenever you make a phone call, you take down what was said in the call. There's a certain code that you have to put. There's a certain coloring that you have to put. And when you're finished with all of the calls on one sheet, you have to sort them. And if you are over that account, no matter how new you are or old you are, especially, well, put it like this, she, air quotation marks, she trains you how to do this. But I would say over the course of maybe a week or two, you have to know how to do all of that, what I just told you. You have to know how to pull your own call reports. You have to know how to sort everything. You have to look for any duplicates and all that. But it was for the same price that she told me that I was going to have to do this work for, where it was basically just phone calls. I wouldn't mind putting anything in on a spreadsheet, but after, so much of the other work was done, that's so much extra money. That's so much extra time. And when you finish making the phone calls, that's the end of the money. You sorting the calls and putting in the call capture report and different things like that. It was all of that. And the way that she took down pay and everyone's pay was together so you could see what everybody else made. And so you start to kind of see where it was so unfair that other people got to take so many phone calls and different things like that. If you find any company where it feels like you have to start bending over backwards for them, it is so not worth it. Whatever a company hires you for and that's in that job description and that's in your contract, you don't have to do anything over that. It was even where it was a text messaging thread, and just say someone went out on vacation. Each time someone went on vacation, each time someone wanted time off, it was a different thread, text message thread coming into your phone. And when things had to be said or things had to be done, everything was in a group text. You already had to be on your email 24/7. It got to a point to where I couldn't sync up the work email, well, air quotation marks, the work email that we were given. I couldn't even sync that up to my device anymore. So it was almost like a train wreck. And I don't know if that company is still going. I don't know how strong they are. I made sure I got so far away from that company. But if you guys run into any work at home company and you find yourself doing extra work for no more money, get away from that company. As nicely as you possibly can, you put in your 2 weeks notice and you run. If you work for any company and they tell you, well, we're using you for the backup, so if we don't have enough people to do this, you have to do it, run. Because if you run into a situation like that, and just say you can't work when that backup can't work, so both of y'all can't work, everything is still going to come down on you. So if you look for work at home jobs outside of this channel, and I'm not knocking anyone else's channels because I know it's so many other work at home channels. If you run into a work at home job and you are hired for something to do, that's the only thing that you have to do. Whatever is in your contract and whatever you've seen on that job posting, that's the only thing that you have to do. Anything extra, if you're not getting paid any extra, you're not doing it. And it's against the law for anyone to let you go if there was nothing that was done wrong. And if you read contracts, I'm going to try to start a segment on that. Read every contract. I don't care how long it is. I don't care if you have to get someone else to read it for you. Anything around the job descriptions and social media and different things like that. Guys, really pay attention. Please pay attention. I'll be back at, well, No, I'll be back next week with more work at home chatter. And this is just something where I've been getting, a couple emails asking me about my whole work at home experience, and here it is. So please make sure you subscribe, make sure you like this video, and I'll be back next week with more work at home jobs and more work at home chatter.